today could be the day, my friends. Today could be the day. Or tomorrow. Or when. Nah, I think today, I got a sneaking suspicion. I ain't talked to anybody in Berea, Ohio. Maybe they were driving through Berea, Ohio, but the weather's terrible. The ROADs are terrible. Be careful out there if you're out there.
I mean, didn't they leave? Didn't they interview Anthony Lynn in Florida?
In Florida, yes.
And now
they were able to
heading
get
out.
planes up, but that was on Saturday, right? So
now they're heading out to California.
I would hope, because
with an aching in
Stillhouse
their
had
heart.
to go to Seattle last night, and then I assume he went back to L.A.
Jeez Louise. There's a lot of flying around out there to try to get yourself a head coach. Can I get this off my chest before we get flying with everything else? And I can say this with 100% confidence because I know you're with me on this. This is one of the fun things I know I can say, and I know you're with me. Guys, I know they had Mike Vrabel in the building for the same reasons Sean McDermott ain't coming here, for the same reasons John Harbaugh isn't coming here, were the same exact reasons why Mike Vrabel was not coming here. He was not coming here. It wasn't going to happen. If we're all saying how terrible the organization is, how disorganized they are, how dysfunctional they are, well, then you gave Vrabel a front row seat. And one team has a young quarterback that they're excited about, and at the time, whatever you want to say, even at the time, the other one didn't. So I understand that Vrabel's a local guy, and you love him, and I'm sure he grew up a Browns fan of some respect, and Vrabel's a tremendous coach, and I wish him well. He wasn't coming here. Just wasn't happening. Just wasn't happening. For all the reasons why we're not in the same conversations for McDermott or any other name that we know of. Anthony, I know you're with me on this.
Yeah, and you know, obviously there was a lot of fun to be poked over the Kyle Shanahan situation years ago when he was here. And, you know, it was always like, man, I would make, and I remember I said this, I'd make Kyle Shanahan the coach tomorrow and say goodbye to everybody else. But that's just not how the NFL works. It's just not, that's not realistic. That would have never happened. Probably Kyle Shanahan would have never, he was doing everything he could to get out of town. So I don't think he was, ready to take a job like that. But in this case, first of all, I don't think Mike Vrabel would have ever done that. Like, there would never have been Vrabel orchestrating like a power struggle behind the scenes. Like, it wasn't even supposed to be a daily job. Remember, it wasn't even supposed to be anything at first, wasn't it? Like a consultant role, and he was going to show up in training camp.
And then by the end of the year, he was coaching the offensive line.
I mean,
at the end of the season, he was coaching the offensive line.
That's where we were at with the whole Mike Vrabel situation. So yesterday, I saw a bunch of Browns fans, lamenting the fact that he was going to the Super Bowl in year freaking one with a Patriots team that was a utter disaster the year earlier with Gerard Mayo. And Drake May obviously took a huge step forward this year. It was just never going to be a situation where, hey, they were going to lock Mike Vrabel in the building in Berea and then fire Kevin Stefanski and go, hey, do you want to be the head coach here? We got everything running on all cylinders with you. Yeah. Like, that was never going to happen.
And I can tell you, it's just it wasn't going to go down that way.
Is it because they threw so much money to Deshaun Watson that people think that Haslam would have he could just throw $100 million, $200 million?
That's where I will disagree with you. I think that he will spare no expense to be good. I think that if Mike Vrabel, if they were to go to Mike Vrabel and say something, and Mike Vrabel's like, listen, you're such a disaster. You're going to have to pay me $100 million. I think he'd pay the $100 million. I do too. So what's the disconnect?
Is it that the Browns had spared no expense countless times, and most notably giving out such a ridiculous deal to Deshaun Watson and guaranteeing it and all that, couldn't they just do that with Mike Vrabel and just make him say no?
Well, they could have. They could have done that, but I think Mike Vrabel knew he wants to win. I mean, Mike Vrabel could make a lot of money anywhere, but when you're with your second place, like, that's why some of the guys, we call them retreads, like, no, some of these guys are really good head coaches, and their times run to an end. We'll figure out whether or not Kevin's really that bad coming up in Atlanta this year. When you're picking your second spot, you usually get one mulligan, and then you got to go to the second one, and it's really got to count because you usually don't get a third. He was going to be selective. Well, going into this year, even where the way it was, you knew you were picking New England over that spot. with the flexibility that they had to bring in some guys, with the draft that they have to bring in some guys. I mean, let's call it what it is. We've had one good draft. The Patriots have been better here over the last couple of years now. So you have that goes for the Patriots, that goes against us. You weren't going to be able to get Vrabel here. So it wasn't going to go that way. So, hey, I understand you had him in the building. You've had a lot of guys in the building. You've had a lot of guys in the building just passing through. You've had John Gruden in the building visiting before for football, for television purposes. Just because they're in the building doesn't mean you're going to be able to hold on to them. And I would love to have Mike Vrabel here. I just didn't think he was coming. This is not a reason that we shouldn't have got Mike Vrabel. I just don't think he was going to be here. I don't care what anybody reports, anybody says, he wasn't going to sign up for it.
The other one I asked you before the show, I'm like, Zane fan, it's tough because people don't really measure GMs the same way we can watch a coach game in and game out. A GM just kind of puts a team together, makes a few trades, and that's it. You don't really hear from him. Heck, we didn't even hear from our GM this year.
Yeah.
So, Elliott Wolf. Elliott Wolf was under John Dorsey.
We had him in the building.
And we had him in the building. And I'm not, it's not like I'm looking at his drafts. He took over that role. He had been one of the head scouts or whatever in New England before kind of becoming assistant GM and then GM in 2024.
Yes.
So is anybody going, man, I wish we had Elliott Wolf? Or does it just not work like that with GMs?
I think that, if their name's not Andrew Berry and they have some modicum of success right now, I think that name gets, I wish we had so-and-so. I wish we had this guy, that guy. I mean, John Schneider, you would drive there right now and go pick him up. Les Snead, they found a way to continue to be successful, even though they had the dearth of first-round picks. Like, you had all those to go in for you. But you bring up a very interesting thing. Tom Pelissero was on Rich Eisen's show, and this was back on Friday. And it's one of the things that I went, you know what? I'm glad I have a coach's clinic today, and I don't have to deal with this afternoon, because here is Tom Pelissero on the Rich Eisen show talking about the Browns' data-driven coaching search.
The Browns' search process and interview process, which they have run a number of times, is unlike any other in the NFL, and it plays to certain types of candidates. They are a data-driven operation in Cleveland, and so they spend an extraordinary amount of time gathering data on their coaching candidates. You're talking about taking a personality test. You're talking about writing an essay. You're talking about completing homework assignments going into both the first and the second rounds of interviews. It plays toward the types of candidates that they have in the mix, which is very, very smart people in a lot of cases that just often happen to be tall, thin guys who came from Ivy League schools, so that's certainly not a requirement. That's the type of candidate generally that is going to fit into a data-driven environment.
So that's Tom Pelissero on that. People went nuts because it is, and it's an easy reason why, and I don't blame you for it. Because the history tells you it's on your side. If they're because the word is they've done this a number of times. So my thought is they probably did it when they got with Hugh. But you remember what was reported about Paul DePodesta? He wanted who when they ended up hiring Hugh? Didn't he want Sean
McDermott?
McDermott, yes. Then they went and they got Freddie Kitchens. Obviously, that feels like it would have been different from the way they did things. Then they got Kevin. Kevin's had some good. Kevin had obviously some bad. But then when you write the unlike anything other in the NFL, and it's like, well, fans just want you to be like other teams. They just want you to be like other teams. So you're not going to get any quarter from the fan base from about being like other teams, because if you're doing it unlike it is, and I have to admit, how often have I been mad on a Browns Monday and said, well, you insist on zagging when everyone else zigs. You insist on doing it differently than anybody else. Well, now you get it differently. You have the same results that we've been dealing with, but you continue to do things differently. Like, I'm sorry, the Browns, as much as you can try to defend it, and I can try to defend it, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. I can't put lipstick on that hog, considering that they had 2 terrible losing seasons before this. You question almost everything they do. Everything they do comes back to bite them. And if I were to defend that, it's only going on my own hope that they're able to pull the nose up on the thing. I think Kevin, I thought there was definitely some things that needed to change, but there was also some good things about Kevin. I'm sure Kevin did the same thing that these guys are being asked to do, Udinsky and Shieldhouse, and Kevin was a pretty fine coach a couple of times throughout this time. But it doesn't matter because you've lost for 2 straight seasons at a terrific fashion, and it doesn't seem like you're going to be any better this 3rd season coming up here. So you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt by the fan base. It's not going to happen.
I asked around because I'm like, the personality test, that doesn't sound that crazy to me.
It doesn't.
And as it turns out, just people that got back to me said they had heard this team does it. This team does something like it. Another team has kind of a comparable thing. So that wasn't as offensive.
So where do we get the unlike anything else in the NFL?
The essay. I heard from some people. I heard from a scout in another organization who was like, that is insane. That is just insane. That's going to get them laughed at, from here to kingdom come. Okay, well, the Browns are used to getting laughed at. I mean, they already knew they were dealing with a different candidacy pool. Do I think, John Harbaugh was going to submit that kind of paperwork? No, because I think John Harbaugh would be interviewing you. You wouldn't be interviewing John Harbaugh. Yep. Do I think Mike McCarthy, and I saw, look, a lot of Browns fans were making fun of the Mike McCarthy hire with the Steelers, but I didn't know this. I mean, I guess I knew that Mike McCarthy had a bunch of good years. Did you know his resume was pretty comparable to John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin? He's done a lot.
Single Super Bowl winners. Yeah, he's been a very good kid. I really think they switched out Mike Tomlin for white Mike Tomlin, but either way, I mean, hopefully it'll end up being good for us, but you're probably looking at another 9-8, and we're still in the doldrums here, so we got to get ourselves figured out.
Do we think Mike McCarthy is going to submit that kind of paperwork? Probably not. He's probably going to say, now maybe if it's his only head coaching opportunity, maybe it's different. I don't know. But yes, I think there's a fine line between, hey, in a comprehensive way, trying to get to know leadership qualities as best you can, and then also making guys jump through unnecessary hoops. I do think there's a fine line.
Well, do they find it? I'm just trying to find the reasoning for it. This isn't an excuse for it, guys. I'm just trying to find the reasoning. Going into this, you could not have made this decision believing that you were going to get the creme de la creme. Now, you can call John Harbaugh and see if he's interested. You should. You can call Sean McDermott, see if he's interested. You should, right? Right. But you knew you were going to get it. So do you want to make sure that the guys who are interviewing you that are 30 and 35 years old, that they're not going through it as a tune-up to be interviewed by somebody else? Are you thinking that, or are you trying to make sure that you are wanted as bad as you might want a candidate to be your head coach? That this isn't just a thing to go through to be a head coach and all of a sudden you accidentally do it. Like maybe trying to avoid Mike Pettin land. And Mike, for 2 years, was pretty decent, at least in year 1. Year 2, then the Johnny stuff got to him and everything was a mess. But you get what I'm saying. So you don't end up on your 7th guy. Do you have them write this stuff hoping that this is a guy that this kid really wants this job, this young man really wants this job? We want to feel more comfortable giving the keys to this guy. I'm asking a question.
I think,
it doesn't seem like that's a good sell.
I think
it doesn't seem like that's a good sell to you.
I think the one thing, and maybe it's going to be up to whoever gets this job, we were hoping that Kevin Stefanski would leave it better than when he came into it. That's always the goal with these things. Maybe that wasn't necessarily the case, but maybe for now we just have to accept the fact that when we trot out, this is one of 31. There were 32, one of 32. There's 32 teams. There's 32 job openings or potential head coaching openings. You might not get another shot. You should always take this just as seriously as anywhere else. Maybe we're just not up there with the rest of the NFL.
I don't think you are
right now. And we have to come to grips with that. That does not mean that one of these guys, if we make an announcement today and Ken start off the show saying, hey, today might be the day that we offer the job, and maybe it gets accepted.
I think you want somebody, that this isn't a great position. They had to have known this going in. And that there can't be any way you bring them back knowing that this is going to be this coveted job. Because if it were a coveted job, you wouldn't have had to let go of Kevin Stefanski because you would have been in a much better position. So you had to have known. So the only way, and guys, this is a complete rationalization. Totally trying to rationalize this, just trying to see why they would do any of this, because it doesn't seem like anything I would ever want to do. Anything, okay? But I'm trying to figure out what's the process to their madness, and the only thing I can think of is that you want to make sure that the 35-year-old going through the process isn't just trying to go through the process to see what he can do to make his situation better for the future, that you have somebody here who takes it seriously, who actually wants your job. That's the only thing I could think of, because you knew going in, you're not getting the brand names that we all think of. And a hush went over the crowd going, that's a bunch of crap. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you win 8 games in the last 2 years. Am I just trying to make myself feel better? Because I want to hear Baldinger on Afternoon Drive on Friday after it turned out that the Browns are making people write essays to be their next head coach.
I've never heard that. I don't know if that goes on. I can't believe that goes on in many places, and I don't know what the purpose of writing essays would have to do with leading a football team. So, I'm not disputing what Tom is saying. I'm sure Tom has his good sources, as he usually does, in order to make that report. But I have no idea why anybody would ask a coaching candidate to write an essay. If your coach can't create his vision, sitting in a room and talking to you face to face, if you can't create that vision, then I don't understand what any essay would how that would trump anything that you would get face to face with any candidate.
That's Brian Baldinger on Friday on Afternoon Drive. By the way, Cavs-Lakers tickets up for grabs coming up at 8 o'clock. Yes, your chance to go see LeBron James possibly in the last time he could be coming to the Cleveland area to play NBA basketball. Coming to downtown Cleveland to play NBA basketball. 216-474-0092. I don't think there's any nice way around it. Unless Nate Shieldhouse or Grant Udinski. Did they make Jim Schwartz? Did Jim Schwartz write an essay? I don't know. We're kind of just learning about this process through secondhand reports. That's what I'm saying. I can't defend it. I can defend some of the other reasons why you would do it and say, no, this is kind of the way it does, as Lyman brought up. Personality tests. He had heard about personality tests before. All the other things. Write an essay. What do you need? 1,800 words on why you need to be the Browns head coach? 800 words on why you need to be the Browns head coach? Does it have to be typed? Can you write it longhand?
Can you use ChatGPT?
Can you use Chat? Well, I think ChatGPT would be an eliminator for me.
Well, Jim Schwartz went to Georgetown. I feel like he could spit out an essay pretty.
He went to Georgetown?
Yeah, I think he could spit out an essay pretty damn quickly. I don't think that would be very hard for him.
Damn. Pretty damn good,
George.
Pretty, damn, Sam, you're killing my ass. I had no idea he went to Georgetown. That's pretty good. Go Hoyas. Okay. I did not realize that. I think you're right, but he spent 3 years in the building. Do you think they make him do that? It doesn't. I just think it makes a lot of people worried because you consistently tell us you do things differently. Yeah, you're consistently at the bottom of the AFC North. Maybe you should try to do some things like everybody else. Maybe being more like the consistent teams. Maybe that's going to help you. Because some of this stuff, we're trying to be different from everybody else. We're trying to be on the cutting edge. I don't know, man. It just seems like you keep getting passed up by everybody else. So there's, as much as I want to, as a Browns fan, say, no, things are different. We do it differently here. We want to find out. I'm trying to tell myself, we want to find out. I'm trying to see if a young guy wants to be the head coach here really that badly, or he's just going through the interview to get himself ready for another job. So you have to write an essay. I'm like, we're really taking time out to write essays here. Some of these guys don't have time. Nate Shieldhouse had a game yesterday. Did he have time to write an essay?
Can you imagine?
Grant Udinski, he had playoff football to deal with. Did he have time to write an essay?
Sean McVay saying, hey, where are we on this sequencing of plays? He's like, Coach, I'm trying to balance two things here. I've got this essay, and I don't even know if I have the right font. I don't know. Is it double space?
I hope
I have to have this submitted very quickly.
I hope it ends up being a nice story that starts the beginning of a great relationship between the Browns and a head coach for the next 15 to 20 years, and that they're fantastic. But you can't sit here and act unless you are just putting your head in the sand. And as a Browns fan, as a guy who's pretty good at putting his head in the sand, unless you're just going to completely put your head in the sand, you can't say that this makes you feel better. It's impossible. Right?
I am holding out hope, Kenny, that I know it's like I just dodged your question. I'm holding out hope that, this entire process, no matter whether it's a great airtight process and you're getting the first guy on your list or you're getting the seventh guy on your list, I am hoping there's in time there, and we've heard stories about this over the years, that there's not always a big-time correlation between a great process and finding a great head coach, because you don't know what these guys are truly going to be like until they have to lead. It's one thing to come up with your coach's binder. I asked you on Thursday, hey, what's your coach's binder look like? I used to have one for basketball. I was wondering what yours looked like. I was hoping you'd bring it in.
I have a bunch of manila folders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just have to punch the holes in and make it a binder.
You want me to bring the binder?
I do.
I'll bring the binder. Well, it's not a binder. It's a folding thing.
Every coach in any sport has to have this. So eventually, all that stuff gets thrown out the window when a wide receiver has a trade request, or a defensive lineman like Jadeveon Clowney comes in and says, it feels like they're just trying to get the other guy a record, some stats.
Yes.
Like, anybody can lead on paper. It's what happens when stuff hits the fan. What happens with Udinski, Shieldhouse when they start out 1-4 and the walls seem like they're closing in?
You have to go back to the essay.
And
what did you write in the essay?
Did you address in your prompt?
Did you address if you started 1-4 in the essay? You got to ask him. 216-474-0092. Austin and Parma, you're first up on the Fan. Hello.
How you doing?
We're doing well, Austin. Go ahead.
All right, so I just wanted to come on here real quick. I know you guys are probably tired of talking about Kevin, but so in my lifetime, the Browns have only made the playoffs 2 times, and that was obviously in 2020 and in 2023. In 2020, I wanted to talk about, I think that was Kevin's best year here. Statistically, the offense, they only put up the 14th best points per game. And I think that was statistically their best year offensively, outside of Joe Flacco's Cinderella run.
Well, Austin, he's gone now. I understand this, but why are we talking about what happened before?
I just wanted to talk about I think where Kevin went wrong with the team. I think he kind of, like, if you've ever seen the video of Miles Sanders.
I saw it happening from a mile away.
I could see the look in his eye,
Austin, hey,
in that room.
Austin, give us a call 4 years ago.
Where did it go wrong with Romeo Crennel? 216-474-0092.
I don't hate the call. Just go build your time machine and then call us back.
It wasn't a bad call.
2023.
2 months ago. It wasn't a bad call 2 months ago. I saw, I'm like, where's he going with it into the future here? DJ in the Falls, you're next up in the Fan. Hello, DJ.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey. Hi, go ahead.
I wanted to talk to specifically Ken.
Okay.
When I watched the Super Bowl, it felt like Super Bowl. But when I watched the championship game yesterday, it made me think back to y'all conversation that y'all had. And I think it last Friday when you was turning all red-faced about digging through the dumpster for quarterback.
Yeah.
And I thought about, did watching Sam Darnold make you feel any different about that process? And quickly, I just want to say, because I think it's a process now for these quarterbacks that are talented and get to go to good organizations, play behind good quarterbacks, and play with good coaches. I think Sam Darnold, with being in San Francisco with Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, ironically, I think for Daniel Jones playing behind Sam Darnold and being with Kevin O'Connell. I think to a lesser degree, I think Baker Mayfield being in the same room. I know Matthew Stafford was hurt, but with Matthew Stafford and being with Sean McVay, I think now you got Malik Willis, who got to play behind Jordan Love and got to play with Matt LaFleur. And I think you got Mac Jones, who's doing the same thing basically that Sam Darnold did and was a former first-round pick, got his team to the playoffs his rookie year, and then his second year had a defensive coordinator calling plays for him, which was insane.
Do you, in your heart of hearts, believe that anybody in the current quarterback room is a franchise quarterback for the Browns?
In our quarterback room currently, no, absolutely
Okay,
not.
so that's why I have to be open-minded to it. I could be upset about having to dig through the dumpster for old bread heels and fight Lima over them. But when it comes to quarterbacks, but if I got to do what I got to do, and I don't have a quarterback, then I got to do it.
I'm saying, did watching Sam make you feel like that process works better now? Because I think it's a different process than it was 3-4 years ago, where it felt like, or even longer than that, when we got RG3. Like I felt like I feel like it's a different day and age. Like it's a second, damn near feel like a second college for these quarterbacks to go to good organizations, play with good quarterbacks, and learn with good coaches. That's my opinion. Like, that's what I feel like we've seen with Daniel. I feel like we've seen it with Baker. I feel like we've seen it with Sam. Like, Sam Darnold is going to the Super Bowl. That's insane to me. He deserved it. You know, I think when I watch Malik, I'm like, he's learned so much in those 2 years, and when he get his opportunity, it's like, damn, this is a completely different quarterback than when he was in Tennessee. Same thing for Mac Jones. I'm like, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 70% completion percentage in 8 games. Damn, like, this guy, then I watched the tape, and I'm like, I didn't think he was bad to begin with, but I'm like, this is a different quarterback. Like, that process to me is creating at least mid-level starting quarterback play in his league.
So, am I not open-minded to those guys, or what's the crux?
Do it make you feel like you still digging through the garbage, or do this make you feel like you could have a guy for the next?
Yeah.
Like, potentially.
Yes.
You still do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. DJ, thank you very much for the call. Okay, maybe it's not digging through the garbage, but I'm trying to thrift a quarterback is what I'm trying to do here. That's what I'm trying to do. Seattle, they went out, they made a major investment in it, and they took a major risk with Sam Darnold. They certainly did that. They felt like it was at an end. They might have to do the same because, like Geno Smith had some good years, and it's clearly at its end with Geno. I think he might be used up. Will they ever feel that way with Sam Darnold? Now I wonder if quarterback careers are going to be shorter because of everything that's going on with all the changes that we could talk about forever. But I still feel that way. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I'm not willing to roll up my sleeves and go look for that guy because I don't have any guys. I don't have anybody I can truly count on in this QB room. I have hope for Shedeur. That's not realistic. So I have to go with what I know. And if you bring in one of these quarterbacks, like, I'm serious, if you bring in Shieldhouse, there's going to be conversations about who you bring with him, what other players you bring in.
I saw people yesterday. I got a couple of texts, Kenny. I know me and you throw names around all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody said Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm like, really? At 34? Like, I was on the Garoppolo train like 5 years ago.
I understand that.
I don't know about now.
I know, but I think that this is where you're at. Like, whoever they bring in, you can't wait. You can't wait around. So, like, I don't know where else you go. Like, if you
we're on the same page on Tua, Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
like, you have zero. Honestly, this is me talking right now. If that was the plan, I would just say let's see what Shedeur has.
You and I got
this is me talking now.
Well, I know. I understand. I feel that. Obviously, I feel the same way you do. I feel that those guys are wasted investments, and I think we already have a guy who's a wasted investment who's behind Shedeur right now in that quarterback room. But when you bring in like Malik Willis, I don't know why I got so upset with you. You had to have said something that threw me off last Wednesday, why I got so red-faced and screaming at you over Malik Willis, because when I break it down, it's like $50 million or $40 million, whatever it is. It's just $40 million over 2 years. Now, you can make that investment, but it's like, hey, if it goes belly up, okay, I could still draft a quarterback in the first round if I really wanted to.
Yeah, it would not preclude you.
I could try to force it, or force it's a bad word, but I could try to do something like that, or I can make a move with one of these other QBs.
I think what made you upset was me dangling that second first-round pick. I think you were like, let's talk about the second-round pick. Let's not give away the end of the first round.
Who, for like Mac Jones or somebody?
No, I'm saying in any of the trades that we were talking about.
Well, Malik was just money.
He was a free agent.
Why did I get so mad at him yesterday or last week when it was just money?
Well, Malik just hasn't played.
What did you say that made me so mad?
Malik just has not played. He's had so few games.
It could have been the money. What was I so mad at you about? $40 million or $50 million ain't nothing. That's whatever. I don't care about that.